In this video, I'm sharing a basic understanding of what the Juneteenth holiday is, why it's important for all Americans, and how everyone can participate in its celebration in a way that is honoring to those who hold both great pain and great joy around what it represents. What is Juneteenth? Juneteenth is celebrated on June 19th each year. This day marks the end of the enslavement of Black people in America. President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation that ended slavery in the Confederate States on January 1st, 1863. Despite this proclamation, all enslaved people were not made aware of this fact at the time. It took more than 2 years for all enslaved people to get the message. On June 19, 1865, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, and announced to the last group of enslaved people that slavery was over. They immediately rejoiced and celebrated. From this point on, Black Americans celebrated the anniversary of this day of freedom, and Juneteenth became a state holiday in Texas in 1980. It became a federal holiday through the continuous efforts of Opal Lee in 2021. Why is Juneteenth important for Americans? Celebrating Juneteenth is important for all Americans for several reasons. First, this is a reminder of how God can change the hearts and perspectives of people for good. Second, it is a reminder that the United States of America stands for freedom and justice for all people, regardless of race or ethnicity. And third, it is an opportunity to begin important conversations about a sordid and painful history that can now be learned from going forward. Discussing painful parts of history can be challenging, but God can also use them to heal. And if you're worried about exposing your children to the ugliness of sin that perpetuated the institution of slavery, there is always an age-appropriate way to begin the conversation. And organizations like us are here to help you do it. Laying a foundation on truth, no matter how simple or uncomfortable, is incredibly important. And I want to give you 4 ways to get these important conversations going. Number 1, be reflective. Before beginning discussions as a family, it can be helpful to reflect first on the lessons and information you've previously learned about North American slavery, the Civil War, the Reconstruction era, and ideas of freedom. Where you learned this from and who taught it to you is really important. Number 2, be informed. Read books, articles, and primary sources to get a full understanding of the history of the United States, and be willing to integrate voices from non-white teachers. As secondary students, often we're provided limited information. There could be many gaps in the stories you've been taught. Being informed can help you be more confident when sharing as a family. Also, encourage your children to read and learn about the full story of American history and be willing to guide hard realities with the truth of God's word. Remind your children how God sees his human creation in order to help them distinguish sinful behaviors from those that are loving. Number 3, be curious. Asking questions is the best way to understand and gather information. Your children may have questions that you don't have answers for. It can be humbling to admit this, but also a great opportunity to discover answers together. And number 4, be together. Establishing norms for discussions is important so everyone is clear on the best ways to support each other. It is also a great way to establish a safe space for the family to learn and grow together. Here's what I want you to remember. You can be intentional around the Juneteenth holiday by establishing traditions for celebrating together with loved ones and also within your local community. Make it special for you, and it will be special for your kids. They'll remember this as they grow, and one day they'll do the same thing for their own family. And this is how we cultivate a culture full of loving, culturally competent citizens. For age-appropriate book lists and activities on Juneteenth to do as a family, visit needlemovers.org/family resources.